Hey pushers, welcome to episode 2 of my How to Write series. Today we're going to be going through the short answer question option number 2, which is always on a primary source. If you don't know me, I'm Annie Jensen and I have graded AP exams for 6 years and I have graded thousands of responses, and so I'm going to be including my best tips here for how to make sure you're getting the points on the actual day of the AP exam. For this series, we're going to be using the questions from 2023 set 1. So my best strategy for you is to pull up those questions, to go to APUSH FRQ, click on the link, and then you're going to click 2023 set 1. So when I introduce the question, then go do the question and then come back and hear how I would go about it and compare what you did. Now we're looking at question 2 of the set. Now this is always going to be a primary source, and for years it was an image, but for the last couple years it's been a passage. So last year, 2023, it was an excerpt by Ida B. Tarbell. So right now you should pause the video, go read the question and attempt to do it, and then come back and see how it compares to what I think you should do to make sure to get all the points. Generally, this style question always asks for the point of view or perspective of the artist or author in part A. Part B usually asks for a cause of the developments that are happening in the passage, and then part C generally asks for an effect of those developments. So point of view and perspective can be handled in 2 different ways. One would be to actually address who the author is. So in this case, if you actually learned about Ida B. Tarbell and you know who she is, you can say she is a reformer. She wanted to help society to progress. If you don't know who she is, don't make an assumption based on what you see in the excerpt. Instead, you want to pick out something from the excerpt or from the image that's going to demonstrate how the author feels about a specific topic. And so what I would say, the perspective of Ida B. Tarbell is against big businesses. Specifically, she believes that Standard Oil is too big. And then you could include like a short phrase or quote if you want to, but you don't have to. So this can be done effectively in just 2 sentences. So now for part B, you aren't necessarily addressing something specific from the excerpt. However, you're thinking about what is leading up to this point. So when I think about the development of Standard Oil and kind of the controversy of this whole big business antitrust movement, what I would address is what allowed for those big businesses to develop. So I think about the laissez-faire attitude of the government, the lack of government restrictions, the ability for businesses to eliminate competition. So I would write something along the lines of, one historical development that led to the development of Standard Oil as a big business is the relaxed attitude of government towards the economy, including laissez-faire ideas. Also, if you want to continue, then you can include another idea if you have it, but this wouldn't be necessary, where you continue to talk about the ability for big businesses to oust their competition because of the lack of regulation against monopolies. So for part C, you're going to then take the passage and talk about an effect that happens of it. So in this instance, I think about how progressive reformers like Ida B. Tarbell led to increased government regulation of big businesses. And so I immediately think of the Clayton Antitrust Act. And so I would say one effect of this growth of big businesses and criticism by reformers like Tarbell is the increase in government regulation of the economy. Specifically, the Clayton Antitrust Act sought to eliminate monopolies, something along those lines. Now, if you have a specific piece of evidence like Clayton Antitrust Act, that's awesome. If you don't, just be as descriptive as you can. One of the things that AP readers are constantly asking is, did they do enough? And so don't be short and sweet when you have more that you can add to it. So at this point, I would then go to the College Board, type in APUSH FRQ 2023 Set 1 SAQ2 samples, and then you're going to be able to review the other answers that the College Board accepted last year. I hope this was helpful for you, and stay tuned. We'll be back with episode 3, which will cover the next set of SAQs.